In this video, I'm going to update you on how far I've gotten on my personal 1969 Camaro project and on the 64 Chevelle I've been building with my son. Between the two cars, we've taken two totally different approaches, which provides a great opportunity to share with you some of the pros and cons of attacking a full rebuild versus working to restore and upgrade a driver. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jason, owner of a classic car restoration shop for over 23 years. It's hard to overstate the importance of understanding what you're getting into when you're planning a repair, upgrade, or restoration. If you don't do the hard work and inform yourself, you will end up costing yourself significant wasted time and some serious money. Grab this video so you can avoid the 4 major mistakes I see people make all the time when upgrading their cars. They're very common and always lead to huge time delays and wasted money. When I first bought this car, I did what I usually try not to do. I bought a car that was a complete project. When I got this thing, it was completely painted, straight as an arrow, ready to go, but no motor, no tranny, had some of the suspension done, and other than that, it was just a shell. So there was a lot that was gonna have to happen. I set a goal to get the car running by July 3rd, which was my birthday, and about 2 months before that, I posted a video kind of talking about the car and really kind of riffing about like the challenges in building a car, right? So here I am sharing a little bit more about that with you again and how that actually worked for me or worked against me. I had a big list of things I wanted to do at that point. I had a motor set in it, but I had no pulley system, I had no cooling system, I had no brake system. So I had to get all the pulleys, sort out all that, what I was going to do for air conditioning, what I was going to do for power steering, do my different reservoirs, and figure that out. I also had no coil packs. I'm running an LS3 based engine, and it's all electronic, right? So I had to figure out my coils, I had to figure out all the sensors that were missing, and I had to get a wiring harness. So wiring all that stuff in, you know, is a huge task, right? So in that 2-month window, I had to handle all that, and I did. I did a brake booster, plumbed all the lines with the help from my guy Mert, got all new brakes. I didn't even have any brakes on the car at the time of that video, and got a drive shaft, custom built a trans cross member, built a hydraulic clutch system, changed out the pedals. Basically everything I could do to try to get the car running. For me, I was focusing on what I would call a plumb, wire, and fire kind of strategy. I wanted to get to the point where the car ultimately could be finished and look pretty, but I really needed something that was going to run and drive. Anytime I take on like a full build or a large project like this, I'm yearning to get to that point because as you'll see, I'll talk to you about my son's car next and how we took a completely different approach and had a car that we kept running the whole time. So after those 2 months, I got the car fired up, and I'm not playing. Literally on July 3rd, on my birthday, is the first time I got to drive it. Well, it's July 3rd, it's my birthday. She's a little rough, but I'm taking her for that first drive. Hell yeah! What a sense of accomplishment. I needed that bad because I'd had the car for a while before the first video and it had just been sitting and I wasn't going to do anything because I didn't have any time. I got it running. I got to rip it up and down the block here at the shop. Open headers. The thing sounds nasty. It runs as good as I had ever dreamed. It feels just as fast as I'm hoping it's going to be. And so, like, what a win. When you're building a car, like, it's all about motivation, right? Obviously, I got to be motivated to go to work to earn some money to buy the parts. But I got to be motivated to get down on the car and work on the car. And where I'm headed with that also is I was going to say I got to get down to the shop to work on the car. Because unfortunately, at my house, with my son's car there, my wife's convertible Camaro there, I don't have room for this. So I had to come down to the shop to work on the car. So I don't have the tools at home. I don't have the space at home. Therefore, wait, I don't have the time at home either because I got to get to the shop. So those were such challenges that I was facing throughout that process. Additionally, my wife and my son were in Europe on a Belgium exchange program, so I had my daughters, the business to run, everything else to do, so I could never get down here. But somehow I dug deep and I found the time to make it happen. And like I said, dude, literally July 3rd, I came in, had worked on it July 2nd to get it fired up. And then the 3rd was a Thursday, and I got to drive it. And then 4th of July came and I never came back to the shop. But it runs and drives and I've been moving ahead. So my approach, as I said, was what I call a plumb wire and fire. I wanted to do sections and chunks of work that made sense. It was really easy to get distracted in the process, right? I'm like, ooh, if I'm gonna fire up the engine, I need to get gauges. I was gonna use stock gauges, do the factory tack dash, and then maybe a console. And then I was thinking, no, I'm not going to do a console. It's going to be more of a modern kind of pro touring car, and I'm trying to not go broke, so maybe I won't. Well, I wound up buying Dakota digital gauges, and I'm doing a console, and I'm going to make all that happen when I get a chance. So the next thing is doing things in order in a sensible fashion. I got the motor running, right? But, of course, one thing snowballs to the next, and I needed instruments because I'd be a fool to fire up that brand new motor without understanding if it's got oil pressure, if it's overheating, I can see if it's charging. I want to check all systems. So it was sensible to do motor and gauges at the same time. Next step for me is going to be another grouping. I'm going to go in there and I'll actually assemble the dash with the new gauges, finish my AC, and do anything else I have to do onto the dash. Again, do things in chunks, do things at the same time if you can. It's going to give you what I would call an economy of scale. You know, while you're in there, you have access, you're tackling multiple things, you get the best results. And honestly, it's the cleanest result if you get in there and do things once, do them right, and get out of there. And with that mentality, I'm able to kind of keep myself on task. Like you can see, like I've got a front section that kind of looks done, and then, you know, the whole car is mostly put together on the outside. I've got my seats all ready to go in here. Next, I'm going to put the interior in. I think that's really going to be a kicker right there. As soon as I get the seats and the carpet, door panels, everything in there, it's really going to take transformation. And again, there it is again, doing things in chunks. So getting it running and driving, huge win, huge success for me. Stay tuned on this car and you'll see what's next. It's going to be the grille fitted with the hideaway lights. It's going to be the interior in it soon. And then now let's go talk about the Chevelle and why taking my son's car and doing things in a different order actually is probably the best suggestion I have for most of you guys. If you have a project you're working on, don't set yourself up for failure. Wrong parts, time delays, and wasted money. Grab my free video right here and linked below, so you can learn what the biggest pitfalls of classic car upgrades and restoration are, so you can avoid them and get your car on the road where it belongs. Now let me get these cars out of the way because you can see I am really crowded when I'm working at the house, and that's kind of why we're going to talk about the Chevelle and why this is maybe the most likely way a person is going to go after a rebuild of a car. Keep it running, keep it on the road the whole time, as opposed to my 69 Camaro I just showed you, where it started out as a project, and once it's here at the house, I can't work on it. Then I said it was at the shop. I had to go to the shop to work on it. So this one, I can work on here or there. So let's move some cars. Now you can see how that would be annoying, having to move the car every time you want to work on it. But at least since it runs, I can move it. In the case of my other car, it would just sit here in the way, and by the time I would get stuff moved around to work on it, I wasn't even motivated anymore. So some of you guys may recognize this car from a previous video, how to make your engine bay look good for under $200. This is my son's car. He just turned 16 at the time that we were doing that video, and he just turned 17 now. So we've got a car that is up, running, and driving, and we've made a lot of progress on it. If you remember this, that was the little $200 engine bay. She's got a little bit of dust here because we're not camera ready, but I just wanted to walk you through a bunch of stuff. So what I'm trying to get at in the strategy of how to attack restoring a car or fixing up a car is this. If you've got a full restoration project that's going to be like a rotisserie build, yeah, it's got to be on a rotisserie, and you got to start from the beginning and go all the way to the end. in exactly that order. But in many cases, like in the Chevelle here, you can get a car that ran or had been sitting and kind of ran, make it run, and then do improvements over time. So in this case, because it was for my son, I didn't want to get into a full, complete build from scratch, because then I'd be busy all the time working on it, and I'm trying to build my car. Also, if you got a 16-year-old kid that's got his first car, I bet you he wants to drive it a little bit, as probably would you if you had a car. So we went about it this way. We cleaned up the firewall and the engine bay, right? That was one nice step. And then to show you that you could do it in any order you want, then later we painted the car. Just simply masked off the engine and then went after paint, where a lot of the times you're gonna pull the engine out and do everything, and then you get in over your head. If you're building an A1 show car, I get it, but a lot of us just want a really nice, what I would call an events car, a car that could go to any show, hold your head up high, and maybe walk away with a trophy of some kind. So this thing used to be white. We had it painted. That was probably the longest time the car was ever down, right? Was when it was painted. It was out of here for a couple months, I hate to admit, but when it came back, we were able to start putting trim on. The strategy on this from day one was get it up and running, get it drivable and safe, make it fun to drive, and then kind of complete the car while driving it. So first off, when we got it, we put disc brakes on, power steering, and a front sway bar. You'll notice something I beat to death as well is doing things at the same time. So when we did brakes, we did the sway bar, we did the power steering, a bunch of stuff up front, right? When you're in there, best chance to do it. Next, we went to the back and replaced the shocks and the springs so all the suspension is decent on the car. Fortunately, when we bought it, it did run. It had a really lame carburetor, so we did a carb, we did an electronic ignition conversion, we did a thermostat, and a bunch of the mechanicals. So again, kind of in phases. On this car, now that it's painted, we were able to get all of the trim. Because we're talking a young kid, he didn't want to spend all the money to get all the chrome redone. Well, let's be honest, I didn't want to spend the money to get all the chrome redone for him. And he kind of wants a more aggressive look. So you can see that we went ahead and blacked out a lot of this stuff. You can see we're blacking out the emblems here, blacked out the trim and the mirrors. And then we put a little bit more modern wheel on it because, let's be honest, he's a kid. So in addition to the paint, we had some major challenges throughout the build, and that's why, kind of why I'm talking to you about this. Obviously, I say I've been able to drive it the whole time through, but there's reasons that certain things never got done yet. For example, if you look inside right now, we just finally did the floorboards. The floorboards were all rusty before. The front sections here and on the driver's side had to be changed out. Until that was done, we were never really willing and able to proceed with the interior. And to that end, why would I proceed with the interior? That's why we went outside in. We didn't want to do door panels and headliner, because if we do that, when we're welding the floor, we're probably going to mess up some of that. If we're going to paint the car later, we're going to have to pull the door panels back off. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we were able to keep the car running and driving while doing things. Right now, we're super excited because the floors are done, all prepped and coated. He started doing his Dynamat on the floor in the back, and we got the seat recovered. So what's gonna happen now, literally over the next number of weeks or a month, is we're gonna be able to put the carpet in, the package panel in, the door panels in, the dash back together, and this thing's gonna be on point. So right now, he's got a car that runs and drives. He can go take it for a putt. We drive it to the shop to go work on it because the shop's about 5 miles from my house, and it can drive there. No tow truck bills going back and forth. If we want to work on it together, which is the only way we like to work on it, we usually do it here because we both have busy schedules. So I can plan ahead, bring stuff here, bring parts here, bring tools here, and we work on it. If it was at the shop, let's be honest, it'd be in the way. We'd probably not get to work on it that much. So having this car running and driving made sense. So hopefully this kind of helps you figure out, how to keep a door handle on. So we better put a clip on that window crank when we put it back together. But hopefully this helps you understand a little better what might be the best process for you, the best order to go about it. If you've got a complete car that's like torn apart, you may have to take on like a full restoration all at once. But in most cases, you can take a decent car and make it better by doing things step by step. Take into account how long you want to spend. Take into account how much money you want to spend. Plan ahead, get the right parts, have the right approach, and stay motivated. So which build style is right for you? Don't set yourself up for failure with the wrong parts, endless delays, and wasted money. Grab my free video linked below and discover the most common pitfalls of upgrades and restoration, so you can sidestep the mistakes and enjoy more time driving your classic instead of fixing it. Happy motoring.